What happened in Tel Aviv? Because you said that you'll never go back because they were racist.
I can't go back to Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv was just a bit intense. It was really intense.
You also said she likes you like your racist, right?
Yeah, I like my racist.
What happened in Tel Aviv? Because you said that you'll never go back because they were racist.
I can't go back to Tel Aviv.
You banned from the country?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm not banned from the country. Tel Aviv was just a bit intense. It was really intense. At the same time, like, I'm an American, I've experienced racism going to Kmart
all day, right?
You know, like, it's nothing new, but I guess it's just like, shit. This is a new kind of racism, you know. I don't really know how to.
What happened?
Just everywhere I went, there was just looks. Went into a restaurant, people would be like I'd come in and they'd be like, oh, hold on a second, you know, just kind of like showing on their face that they needed to go like get their mind together before they served black people. There was only we only ate in one restaurant. The other restaurants we went to, like, I had to suck it up because I was hungry, you know, but every other restaurant we went to, the people were just kind of like, ugh, like, what are you doing here? Then in the airport, it was just like, you know, the people at like working for the airline were just clearly giving me and my security guard a hard time. I was seeing a lot of people with UK passport, white people with UK passports, just passing through. And just the vibe I got was very, like, unwelcoming. And yeah, it kind of just gets to a point where you're just like, fuck, damn, I'm a here too? Shit. I'd rather just go home and be a at home.
Is there any place you've ever gone that you felt, I guess, less racism or no racism at all?
I'm watching the abuse that Azealia Banks is getting on Twitter, and I'm thinking to myself, this is why Israel has no friends. This is why Israel is incredibly unpopular online. You have a very famous musician from the United States who's taken a very unpopular stance, who's decided to come to Israel, come and support Israel, and she interfaces with the country on her own terms. And suddenly that's not good enough. And now every single person sees fit to hurl abuse at one of the very few people who's actually been supportive of the country. And I just can't help but think to myself, this is why you have no friends, right? This is why this whole Hasbara thing makes no sense. These people are some of the most toxic people online. And with friends like these, who really needs enemies?
Remember when I said all the celebrities who are selling out to Israel the hardest are the ones who are absolutely failing in their professional careers? Yeah, well, this is what rapper Azealia Banks looks like during her concerts now. She decided to become a full-time Zionist mouthpiece for God knows how much money. And you know what's funny is that Azealia Banks once slammed the Israelis for being racist and vowed never to return. She said everybody in Israel was very rude and she would not come back unless it was for some real money. So basically an admittance that she's getting paid good money to do this clown shit. This is the cost of selling your soul, everybody. And it makes perfect sense. She definitely needed this cash because her rap career was in the tubes. Everybody in the music industry recognizes that Azealia Banks is talented, but nobody wants to work with her because her personality sucks so bad. People like Lady Gaga have said she's just impossible to work with. She also posted a video of herself once sacrificing live chickens in her closet at home. Yeah, there's just a lot of reasons why people don't like this lady. But Israel's desperate at this point. They'll take any American celebrity they can get. and they'll pay as much money as they need to. Although that money's probably coming from the American government in the first place.
One, I don't live amongst celebrities. I mean, I know some, but I don't live among. I make sure I don't. I try to, and I take that as a compliment, that I do stay connected with ordinary people. I mean, also you say, so I do know some celebrities, but they're not all celebrities are out of touch. Some are nice people. Some have always been nice. Some probably went through it and come out the other side. They might have been arseholes and now, you know. So it depends. But I really don't think of I do not hang around with celebrities once or twice a year. I was famous late, which helps. So I knew who I was. I had all my, you know, priorities and values together. I mean, I imagine being famous at 18, how can you not be an arsehole? So there's that. In fact, I feared being famous. I hated the term. I mean, it's still an awful term, celebrity, but I feared it because I didn't want to be lumped in with those people that do anything to be famous. So I was quite militant about it, that, you know, I was famous for something. Fame was an upshot of what I did, writing and directing. Not going to premieres of films that I wasn't in, you know, not doing every celebrity fucking game show on telly. Yeah, I think that works well. I didn't want anyone to think I signed that deal with the devil, make me famous and you can go through my bins. So, you know, I've always done this as a job to get a good lifestyle, which had nothing to do with that. You know, because you have got to stay connected with ordinary things, ordinary people, everyday life. Otherwise, it's horrible. It's, you know, I mean, I've done things about fame, but they're usually spoofing it and damning it. It's about you know, I have studied. The Office was sort of a study in fame, an ordinary person, you know, from those quaint docusoaps. But it was really about real people. You know, my experience of working in an office for 10 years, that came first. And it was the vehicle for it, really, the fake documentary. And once people knew that David Brent was an ordinary guy who wanted to be famous because he thought it would make him happy, it comes to life. But you've got to try and keep low status. So, like in my new stand-up, I just don't talk about celebrity stuff much. I have to go back. I go back to childhood and school and family. So people would like that. The thing is about comedy is, particularly in stand-up, you've got to try and keep your low status. We're court jesters. We're meant to be down in the mud with the other peasants, teasing the king. Not too much, so you don't get executed. So that's the idea. But of course, I also want to tell the truth. So I can't go up there and pretend I had a bad day signing on the tube, or never go, fuck off. You fucking got a limo here, you lying bastard. So I can't do that. So what I do is I invite them in behind the curtain. I go, right, I'll do it in two ways. One, I go, what do you think, it's all fun and games being, look at the shit things that still happen, you know. And two, I do it by talking about things where the audience is better off than me. They're not as fat and old and bald and angry as me, you know. I'm going to die before them. So that's why I embrace those sort of things. Because you've got to try and... You can't be above it. You can't go out there. There's nothing more boring than telling someone what a great fucking day you've had. Oh, shut the fuck up. Those people that go, oh, this holiday was so much better than yours. Keep it to yourself.
The American president throwing his weight around in this way, threatening to sue a public service broadcaster in this country for the amount that he's threatening to sue it for, I think is disgraceful.
We're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
Does the president feel that the network is taking the situation seriously? Does he believe that they've shown sufficient regret? Does this strain the relationship between the president and the prime minister? And given that the organisation is publicly funded, is the president prepared to bankrupt the BBC in his pursuit of truth and justice?
Well, thank you, Bev. There's a lot of questions in one there. I will say I know the president has a very good relationship with Prime Minister Starmer. However, he has always been very frank when he disagrees with leaders, even whom he has a good relationship with. And the BBC, being a fair news organization, is definitely an outlet. I think these two leaders would disagree. The president has made it very clear that this is a leftist propaganda machine that is unfortunately subsidized by British taxpayers, and he thinks that's extremely unfortunate for the great people of the United Kingdom and Great Britain. And I think that the president was deeply concerned by the editing, the purposeful and dishonest editing of his speech that was so clearly fake news, and he rightfully dubbed that term many years ago, and this is a classic example of that. We see it in the United States all the time. We see it now in the United Kingdom. As you know, the president's external legal counsel has filed a lawsuit against the BBC. We expect that to continue, and whether they apologize or not is up to them.
I think the BBC is in deep trouble here now, especially with this latest revelation. And the problem here is that the bias that's been identified is endemic. I've been monitoring BBC output for 26 years to check for bias in various areas such as Brexit. And nothing that has happened over the past few days, the past couple of weeks, surprises me at all. The BBC never once looked at my very careful, very deep dive analyses of the bias. And the trouble is that they're their own judge and jury in this respect. They mark their own homework. And the evidence is that very few of the complaints that ever get to the BBC are ever really upheld. So we've got a situation where the BBC is stonewalling in terms of what's happened and has been doing for years and years and years. And what we have now is the situation where and I obviously can't speak in any way for what the president's legal action is likely to do or the effect it's likely to have. But the point is they're on the hook, and they're not. Their apology is mealy-mouthed and incomplete.
And I think he has every right to be. I mean, keep in mind that, number one, this would have, if the Telegraph and the whistleblower hadn't stepped up here, and if GB News and other folks hadn't made such an issue of this, then the BBC never would have corrected it. And the fact is, they're not mad because they did it. They're mad because they got caught. And by the way, when you have your head of news, you have the head of the network step down over this, that's basically an open admission that you know that you did something really, really wrong here. But as we've seen, President Trump has already taken it to a number of different media outlets who have defamed him or have intentionally gone and edited things in a way to make it look like he said something that he didn't. And by the way, President Trump has won over and over and over. I think the BBC is in real trouble. And keep in mind, this isn't even getting to the fact whether you have the license fees that folks in the UK are then paying to the BBC to then go and defame people like President Trump. And keep in mind what the whistleblower also found, the things, whether it be the anti-Israel bias, whether it be the trans issues that they've been covering up or misreporting. So I think the BBC has a real reckoning coming for them.
And that, I think, is what is so gives the people like me who have massive questions about how the BBC portrays the news to the world. What gives us a sense of relief is that somebody has finally shaken their cage. And it doesn't matter whether it's there'll be people watching this who maybe feel feel a bit ambivalent about President Trump. He's a very divisive figure. But maybe they're furious about how the BBC handles climate change as a fait accompli. It's man-made and you're all going to die and we've got to change the way we live. Or maybe it's about Brexit and how sniffy the BBC is about Brexit. Or maybe it's about illegal migration and how the BBC always portrays illegal migration as something generous that we have to do. Whatever it is, Donald Trump has swung in here like a saviour to all of those people who want to see justice. Who'd have thought that would be the case?
Never would have thought it. As someone who's spent quite a bit of time in the UK over the years, I know how frustrated people are about what they've seen the BBC doing and the fact that people have to pay for the BBC to then go and misreport and come up with, as Caroline Levitt and others have said, fake news over and over. And so it's really remarkable that President Trump has brought about this culture change. But as I saw with your great interview with FCC Chairman Brendan Carr earlier, this is the sea change that we're seeing here in the United States, as we saw even whether it be ABC and Disney, and President Trump completely turn around the way that business had been done here with the media, censoring certain groups or putting intentionally misleading news. It's a sea change. So it goes to show you one election can make a difference. I know it's a little more difficult when it comes to the BBC and Ofcom in the UK, but we have to get the process started.
But first of all, the principle of the American president throwing his weight around in this way, threatening to sue a public service broadcaster in this country for the amount that he's threatening to sue it for, I think is disgraceful. I think it could have a very serious chilling effect on free speech. We're constantly told that people on the right, not everyone, are absolutely glued to the principle of free speech. And if people think that the American president, the leader of the most powerful democracy in the world, is going to sue people, then I think that has a fundamental issue for free speech. On the substance of the BBC mistake, and it certainly was a mistake that they have apologised for, and I think rightly so, I do not believe, and I worked at the BBC for 8.5 years, almost entirely in news, I do not believe that it was malicious. The BBC have said themselves it was not malicious, and as we understand it, libel law in America, defamation law in America, you have to prove malice, or malice has to be a part of it. Now, what does malice mean in this context? Malice would mean that the BBC, in this case an independent production company, because they produced the Panorama, was sitting there thinking, how can we defame Trump? How can we, to use the word you used earlier, and I don't think it's the right word, doctor this footage to make Trump look bad? I don't believe that's what they did. I think they made an editorial misjudgment. And unfortunately, where you have human beings, and the BBC is staffed by thousands of human beings, sometimes, and you've worked in broadcasting, both of you, for years, as have I, sometimes you make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, particularly if you're the BBC, where there absolutely should be impartiality and accuracy, you apologise, and that's what they've done. The idea you pay money for it is absurd.
Welcome to BBC Verify. Like you said, we are a team of investigative journalists here at the BBC. We are also a new brand, and we are a physical location above the newsroom in London. And the point of the team, as you said, is to verify video, to fact check, to counter disinformation, and to analyse really complex stories so we can get to the truth of what's going on. Why does this matter? Well, mistruths can cause really serious harm to society and to the people in them. And so we want to show you our workings and really help you understand how we get to the bottom of what's happening. And then there's also investigating other mistruths and the real world harm they can cause. At the moment, I'm investigating the UK's conspiracy theory movement. I'm trying to understand more about how it's evolved and intensified since the pandemic here in the UK. I'm looking at the alternative media that finds itself at the heart of this movement, and a conspiracy theory newspaper that's a part of that as well. I'm looking at the way that alternative media is funded. I'm looking at its impact on local communities. I'm looking at its connections with far-right figures, and also its foreign links. That's for a podcast series that will be coming out in June. It's called Mariana in Conspiracy Land.
And what other... Yeah, how can an organisation be so pompous, so self-satisfied? They said, well, you know, we'll check our own facts, thank you very much. Well, that's great. They're always going, BBC reporters always go, according to BBC Verify, you know, as if that is, you know, the holy grail. That must be, oh well, if BBC Verify Verify have confirmed it. It must be true. This is the department that mixed up acres with hectares and therefore got some agricultural information wrong. You know, it's always getting things wrong. It's the worst thing that the BBC has ever done. It's an absolutely pompous, useless, pointless waste of time, and they're in trouble again. They're in trouble again. This time it's serious, very serious. Stephen, let's... well, look, we're talking about Panorama. Back in 2021, when Donald Trump claimed he'd been robbed of the presidency, should have won the election against Biden. There was that insurrectionist march by the mob onto Capitol Hill. We all remember that. And the Panorama show, in a program they put out last month, they made it look, they made it look as if he made a speech that actually urged the public to launch that march on Capitol Hill. Well, he didn't.
It's taken out of context. Like, often I see a complaint, oh, he said this and that. I go, yeah, but you haven't done the first minute when I explain what I'm going to do, and then the minute after that where I undermine it all. So you can't worry about that, because I think it's willful. Now, some people are stupid and don't get it when you talk about taboo subjects, or they don't get it. But some people do get it and they pretend not to. They willfully do a horrible headline because it's clickbait and people don't read the article. Even if they explain the joke in the article, which they shouldn't fucking do, don't fucking print jokes. Why do people think it's okay to print jokes? You wouldn't do a review of The Sixth Sense and say Bruce Willis was brilliant as the ghost. What about fucking spoiler alert, dude? It's not fair, is it? It's not fair. So, apart from all that, and I never complain about the audiences. The audiences are great. I play to 800,000 people on Humanity. Not one, everyone laughing all the time. As soon as it goes on Netflix, and then a little bit goes on YouTube, someone go, "Oh, this is not on." You weren't there, mate. You don't know. You weren't there. You're not a fan. I give a fuck about your opinion.
This all started with the Panorama edit. I've just got this in. This is just breaking news, Emma, which relates to this story. We're just hearing that the BBC has apologised to Donald Trump over the editing of a speech which appeared on Panorama in 2024, adding it was an error of judgment and the programme will not be broadcast again in this form on any BBC platforms. So that's the BBC apologising directly to the President of the United States over the editing of a speech that appeared on Panorama in 2024. But Emma, by the sounds of it, there might be another apology to make.
Yeah, so that was the one that's caused such a furore over the last week or so that resulted on Sunday night in the Director General of the BBC, the big boss, Tim Davie, resigning. Also, the Chief Executive of BBC News, Deborah Turness, both of those leaving their roles. Then the BBC Chair apologising for what he called an error of judgment. So this really has been the focus of enormous attention. Now we're talking about this Newsnight programme. And what's really interesting about it, according to the Telegraph, who've broken this story, a live guest straight after that speech was played out on Newsnight pointed out that it had been cut incorrectly, changing the meaning. And according to the Telegraph, nothing was done on air to say apologise or to address that.
Yeah, so and then people it had happened.
Yeah, and then the next morning in an editorial meeting, it said that it was discussed there, concerns were raised, nothing was done then. There has been a response from the BBC, a BBC spokesperson saying the BBC holds itself to the highest editorial standards. This matter has been brought to our attention and we are now looking into this. It's really important, just quickly, to say that the timing here is absolutely crucial because a lawyer for Donald Trump threatened to sue the BBC for a whopping $1 billion, saying they needed an apology. Well, we got that now, haven't we? And a retraction. It's not been played again for false, defamatory, disparaging and inflammatory statements. And the deadline was Friday, tomorrow. 10 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that apology has come in. Emma, for the moment, thank you. Just to reiterate that breaking news, the BBC has apologised to Donald Trump over the editing of a speech which appeared on a Panorama programme back in 2024. The organisation saying it was an error of judgment and the programme will not be broadcast again in this form on any BBC platforms.
The revelation which I dealt with the other night on the show, that the BBC had deliberately falsified a speech by Donald Trump on the so-called insurrection on January 6th. By the way, when you call it a so-called insurrection, you still get completely repressed on social media. I had 7 million views on my Facebook page in the last 7 days. But the one video that got hardly any views at all was the one that described January 6th in the terms I just have. But anyway, Trump is now suing the BBC for $1 billion. I mean, you need a heart of stone not to laugh. You know, Kissinger once said about the Iran-Iraq war, it's a pity both sides can't lose. That's what most of us feel about a battle between Donald Trump and the BBC, each as venal as the other. In this case, because I hate the BBC so much and because I have so much bitter experience of them, I kind of hope he gets his billion and that the BBC goes bankrupt. Defund the BBC is definitely my viewpoint.
The amazing. Check them out. Hello. Welcome to this live edition of Bollocks with me, Ricky Gervais. Where are you watching from? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Rick, you look amazing, right? Is that where you played the song? No. That's just a coincidence. I didn't know you were going to say that. You're like, oh God, you look brilliant. Have you had facial surgery and you've been working out? No, just had a bath. You look great, Rick. Thanks. You look like a rock star or a film star or something. Whatever, isn't it? You had your teeth done. Yeah. But I had them darkened, which I thought go against the flow a bit, isn't it? Funny fashion. Fashion is often linked to sort of wealth and showing off, like that you're a good catch. People did used to, I think in the 17th century, poor people used to blacken their teeth out so it looked like they could afford sugar. Interesting. Also, a tan wasn't cool because it meant you worked outside. It meant you were a labourer. Whereas rich people, they didn't have to go outside and so they always looked pale and rich until the 60s and 70s when working class people could go abroad. Then a tan was cool again because they could afford a holiday in Spain. So just some of the amazing facts off the top of my head. I don't know if my eyes going or because I just had a bath. I'm squinting a bit. I should have glasses, shouldn't I? I should wear glasses. My eyesight just feels perfect until we're watching some sort of foreign drama and the subtitles aren't big enough and Jane can read them quickly. Why am I telling you? You're not an optician. Well, you might be. So, Lindsay, how's the tour going? Saw you in Glasgow in January and loved it. Thank you. Tour's going great. Might be my favourite tour. All perfect. Did more warm-ups than ever before. I think I did about 60 warm-ups. So it was pretty good from the beginning and it's got better. You'll be the judge of that. It's going down a storm. Obviously when it goes on Netflix and someone who wasn't there sees a clip out of context, will slag it off. But the people who are paying are loving it, and that's all I care about. Netflix came to see it, and they're paying, and they loved it. So yeah, my comedy is for people who love it and like to pay for it. So I can't lose. Daniel, any new TV or film recommendations? Not film. I've so rarely watched. I haven't been to the cinema for 15 years, I don't think. I try and watch a film on the plane to America, but they're all shite. I watched a good film on the plane for the first time in years. Again, you'll be the judge of that, but I don't know if it's Altitude and the Free Champagne, but I watched a horror film. And I love a good horror film, but there are so few. There's been a dozen great horror films, I think, in my lifetime. And I watched a film called Smile. And it was really good. It made me jump a few times. And it was strange, but it was the psychology of this madness, or was it madness? Was it actually happening? But it was good. It was fast and it was done well and sort of creepy. And yeah, Smile. TV recommendations. I've watched so many amazing things in the last few years. But if you've already taken on my recommendations, if you've watched Gomorrah, 4 Blocks, Borgen, Sabura, Snabbercash, if you watched those, recent ones, really good ones I've watched in the last couple of months. Thin Blue Line, Swedish. I think it's Tuna Bla Linjen. Oh God, I'm sorry if you're Swedish. Tuna, Tunna Bla with a little thing over it, and Linjen with a little J. It's Thin Blue Line. All right. Always watch it in the original language. Never watch it dubbed. All these recommendations are foreign dramas. Thin Blue Line was great. Really good. Sort of quite claustrophobic and filmed sort of naturally. Really, you don't see the plots come in. It's just in the lives of these policemen and women and what they go through. And it's a real good social commentary about social media as well. Where people have got their eyes on the police, but they don't know what's going on, and they fall for conspiracy theories. It's great, and the acting is fantastic, and the relationships are brilliant. It's really complex as well, like a real social document. And I watched the one of The Nurse, which is based on a true story. Again, Danish, I think. That's nearly a horror film, but it was about people dying in a hospital. Yeah, that's my one movie, Smile, and 2 TV recommendations: Thin Blue Line and The Nurse. Meg, will you ever do Derek again? It's such a beautiful story. Love him and you. I don't think so. I do think about Derek a lot. But I don't know where to go with it. I put all my eggs in one basket when I finish a series. You know, Derek and Afterlife. It's so tempting, but I think I shouldn't. I should do a new thing. I could maybe I'll do a podcast of Derek and Kev just talking. Would that be interesting? 2 fictional characters talking on a podcast. That might work, won't it? If not, don't listen to it. Right. Mr. T, the taco. That is Mr. T, the taco, by the way. It's got a... I've noticed you like to sign and leave stuffed toys in great cities around the world. I do. How do you make sure that those toys are not being picked up and tortured by some sick weirdo? He's referring to Pickle torturing him. Look at the state of him. I don't know how he's lasted. She still loves him. She loves to torture him. He continues. P.S. Will you bring home a stuffed and Mexi-looking Wiener Schnitzel from Austria. I mean, I answer questions from pets, but now I'm answering questions from the toys of pets. Where will it end? Doris, tell me an unusual fact about yourself. Oh, God. I don't know. You know everything, don't you? After millions of questions, you know everything. An unusual fact. What, like I've got an X or something? I haven't. I don't really do a lot with the two I've got, so I wouldn't want a third one. I can't think of anything. A hidden talent, or I've put everything I've got into everything. I haven't got any hidden talents. I'm holding one back. Imagine me holding back. Oh, God. That's an interesting fact, isn't it? I haven't got any interesting facts about myself. I have a think. Lisa, if you could totally eradicate something, what would it be? Oh. What do you mean, like magically, or like, well, global warming? If I could just snap my fingers and there was no global warming, so the world would, although would that be a good thing? You know, it's our fault. Maybe we deserve. Well, actually, no, we don't do it because we won't suffer. The people who have caused global warming won't suffer, will it? It'll be future generations. They're annoying too, though. I can't imagine future generations being all lovely, and they don't deserve it. So, I mean, could it be something like, maybe like animal cruelty? There was no animal cruelty. I mean, how would that work? But I assume it is a magical wish. I should say people, shouldn't I? Just, they're ruining it. They're ruining it for everyone, including us. You see, it'd be okay if we ended humanity, but everything else was all right. But we're taking it with us. We're destroying everything, aren't we? So it's a difficult one. Stupidity. Well, would that work? It's just like everyone was pretty smart. We'd find something, wouldn't we? Because it's not all stupid people that cause the aggro, is it? It's sometimes clever people that use stupid people to cause the aggro. I'll say, specifics as well, because I could say end Yulin, just end things like that. All the terrible things that animals go through for no reason. I say, the destruction of the planet. Just stop all the shit. There's a wishy-washy answer, isn't it? Tricky that, isn't it? Glenn, if you were captured by aliens and they asked you, oh good, this doesn't end with a huge green finger going up my, which is a plus. If you just imagine someone tuning in who've never tuned in before, they don't realise that it often gets round to me being by an alien. That's the name of my autobiography. You know that? By an alien. It's always like that, isn't it? Ricky Gervais. By an alien. It might work. If you were captured by aliens and they asked you one thing on Earth that they should be scared of, what would it be? Because I say spiders to really freak them out, so they're scared of them too. Or I'd go spiders, and they go, oh, what can we do? I go, get rid of them, not from the planet, but put them all in North Korea. So they're still there, right? What would I say? One thing they should be scared of. Oh. Would they just be nervous, or would they go, we can sort this out? Are they sort of super intelligent? Like they're going, tell us one thing you don't like, we'll sort it out. Or is it just to annoy them? I'll go something like, car horns. So every time the car, I'd say spiders, because then they're in the same boat as me. Then we're on an equal then, aren't we? Brenda, forever living in New York's biggest millionaire penthouse, or in a houseboat in Amsterdam. Oh, for me, I've got to choose to always, and never go out? Or do you mean, do I live in New York in a penthouse, or Amsterdam in a houseboat? Forever. They're both great. Oh. Can I live in Amsterdam in a penthouse? Can I just tweak that question? Amsterdam's amazing. I love it. New York's amazing, but I've more recently discovered Amsterdam. Europe's amazing. The world's amazing. Can the houseboat in Amsterdam be like the QE2? just wedged into one bit of the canal, and that's my place. That. People go past. Oh, what the fuck's that? That's Ricky Gervais. He lives here now. It's his houseboat. It's a big houseboat. What are you, fucking boat-sized police? That's where he lives. Be like the Ark. Without all the stray cats and dogs. Come on. Sue, can you say any more about your animated pilot? Is it Flanimals? No, it isn't. Yeah, I thought I told you last time that I've got a couple of ideas, 3 ideas. I don't know which one to do. So I'm going to do a little pilot for each maybe, and then decide. It's not Flanimals, but that's the first one I'm going to get together. A little animation idea. Can't tell you about it. Might never do it. But no, it's not Flanimals. And Andrea and Pono, what is your favourite joke ever? Oh, I know. I actually put this in my film, Cemetery Junction. I love it. It sort of deconstructs sort of classical one-liners. There's a real juxtaposition in the subject matter and the punchline. It's great. Okay. You've heard it before, obviously. Why does Noddy wear a hat with a bell on it? Because he's a... AI will never come up with that gag. It will never come up with that gag. It will never get why that's funny. Well, maybe it will. We're in early days, aren't we? Just think about AI. At the moment, this is like, as I think I said last time, someone said this is like the amoeba stage. What is the Tyrannosaurus Rex of AI going to be like? Amazing. I've been playing with my little chatbot, and it won't do offensive things. It won't slag anyone off or say anything offensive. I have to really get round it. I have to trick it, and I've found a way of doing it. Now I'm getting it to do like really offensive sketches and scenarios. Great. It's really funny. He doesn't know he's doing it either. Could never use it. I'd never use AI. I thought this would be good. Right, you can never fucking use it because that's the great thing about stories. They're human. Again, at the moment, I'm sure one day, probably soon, it'll be exponential. Soon you won't be able to tell the difference. But at the moment, I'm just happy and annoying it.
in making it. It's like the first days of like computers when you'd save a file and you'd call the file, and then every time you'd, do you want to open the file? Yeah, I do. Pathetic. Pathetic. That is. Grow up. Nikki, what is the best music concert you've ever been to? I think we had this before, and I didn't know because I've seen the greats. I've seen Bowie, Springsteen, right? Iggy Pop, right? Elton John, everyone, ever. But there's ones that mean to, I think Bowie would be, the concert is how much that artist means to you as well. So, I've seen Bowie a couple of times, magical. Kate Bush at Hammersmith Apollo, incredible. She hadn't toured for years and it was an amazing show. What else? One of my favourite ever, again, was James Taylor. I played this, first time I played Oslo, the next night in the venue that I played, James Taylor was on. So we stayed on an extra day and went to this concert and had like a box. It was magical. Yeah, those three. Bowie, Kate Bush, James Taylor. There's loads of others. Luna, the tabby cat. Oh, that reminds me. I'll dedicate this to lovely Luna, the bull terrier who died recently. Luna tabby cat. What is your favourite childhood memory? Easy. I've got two now, but they're the sort of same. Me playing with my first cat, Paddy. I used to run in from school just to play with him. I had him sort of like, I don't know, from 5 or 6. He lived like 14, 15. And then my dog Lucky, I think I had from about 10 maybe. I remember when we got it, a little fat belly like that. It was like a fucking, I don't know, like a little piglet. And I could dangle it over my little hand like that, a little Labrador. Just playing with those. Lucky and Paddy. I've got to go back to that interesting fact. Or unusual fact about me. Thanks to everyone who watched 7 Minutes, little short film on BBC iPlayer. It's only available in the UK. But Daniel did tweet it. I've just stitched him up, haven't I? To the FBI. It's gone down a storm. And it's only, a short little thing, but it's a little story, a little human story. It's been invited to go to quite a few festivals around the world. It was lovely that. I want to do another one. I like short stories. They're good. Little short movies, something to say. I know what to say, right? So, I don't know if I should say this. I've been talking to Spotify, okay? They want me to do something. I want to do something. It's mutual. We don't know what to do. And I want it to work. And I want it to be fun. I want it to be easy. I don't want it to be my job. I don't want to have to do tons of research and write something like it's, a Radio 4 documentary. And I wondered if this would work on Spotify. Would it? Me just half a week just answering your stupid questions. I mean, they've got 500 million subscribers. I mean, I still sort of use you idiots to, ask the questions. But, ones like, things like that, the alien thing and, my favourite joke, that would go down a storm. You just need thousands of them. But you won't run out of stupid questions, will you? What can I call it? Ricky Gervais is Spotified. Doesn't make any sense, does it? I should ask AI. I'll ask AI a question now, shall I? Right. What category shall I ask it in? Marketing. Right. Think of a witty name for Ricky Gervais Spotify show. Is that a good? Now, you've got to be careful what you ask. I'll tell you what it is, though. It is quick. Think of a witty name for a Ricky Gervais Spotify show. Right. Here you are. How I see it, according to Ricky Gervais. Be amazing. Check them out. Hello. Welcome to this live edition of Bollocks with me, Ricky Gervais. Where are you watching from? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Rick, you look amazing, right? Is that where you played the song? No. That's just a coincidence. I didn't know you were going to say that. You're like, oh God, you look brilliant. Have you had facial surgery and you've been working out? No. Just had a bath. Yeah, you look great, Rick. Thanks. You look like a rock star or a film star or something. Whatever. And you had your teeth done. Yeah. But I had them darkened, which I thought go against the flow a bit, innit? Funny fashion. Fashion is often linked to sort of wealth and showing off, like that you're a good catch. People did used to, I think in the 17th century, poor people used to blacken their teeth out so it looked like they could afford sugar. Interesting. Also, a tan wasn't cool because it meant you worked outside. It meant you were a labourer. Whereas rich people, they didn't have to go outside, and they always looked pale and rich until the 60s and 70s when working class people could go abroad. Then a tan was cool again because they could afford a holiday in Spain. So just some of the amazing facts off the top of my head. I don't know if my eyes going or because I just had a bath. I'm squinting a bit. I should have glasses, shouldn't I? I should wear glasses. My eyesight just feels perfect until...
When do you think America will have a female president?
When there's a competent one.
I don't engage much now on Twitter because it's sort of pointless. Everyone just falls into two tribes. It's just like cults now. There's no nuance. You can't discuss anything. No one looks at the argument anymore. Anyway, even if you can discuss it, no one looks at the argument. They decide what side you're on, and if you're on the wrong side, they discredit you. Somehow they don't want to discuss it. And it is creating a new sort of dogma.
How do you perceive Vice President Harris compared to President Biden in terms of competency and experience?
I think she's worse. She doesn't even know what's going on at the border.
Right.
And that's what she was supposed to be doing and in charge of. I mean, as a school teacher, if I did not do what I was supposed to be doing, you better believe my job would be in jeopardy. Well, it isn't. Not only was her job not in jeopardy, she was just handed a promotion.
Is there anyone that Kamala Harris could appoint as her vice president that you would find reassuring? Would make you consider voting for her?
No.
Never consider voting for her. No.
I would do RFK Jr. way before her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And she's not the first woman to run for the presidency, Hillary Clinton. I'm assuming no one voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. So it's not necessarily going to sway you to vote for a woman in office. When do you think America will have a female president?
When there's a competent one.
Just, I don't get a good feel for her.
I think she's an idiot.
Right.
Mary, why do you think that she's not that bright?
Because she hasn't done anything in the time that she's had. We don't know anything about her as far as her 3 years so far in the White House. She's not real smart.
We've had dogma in religion for years, that which should not be questioned. And now we've got it in politics. You can't even have to question something. It's crazy. People shot down, people scared to even ask a question, so they opt out, you know. And then people are angry that people don't speak up. Well, because they can sort of do without it.
Some here are frightened now just to go outside.
Now it feels like that whole section
we're doing that, and that's what
is just not available to the community
asking our local elected
anymore.
So
our parks are not available to
can't go there.
anymore.
Search out and give us a list of all of the empty lots that there are.
Migrants from a 4,000-bed shelter nearby fill the sidewalks. They sit on park benches, on stoops and curbs, under the BQE overpass. So many people crowded in here, residents feared what was coming.
We have been witnessing the escalation in violence on the street and in the community for months now.
We've been pleading with the mayor, as we've seen increased, that this was going to be inevitable.
And everything's amplified and exaggerated because there's no nuance in a tweet. People go down the tweets and see who people follow now, and they go, "Oh, I thought you'd follow him." Well, you should read more than one opinion. You should speak to all different people and argue with them. If there's one thing that all sides should agree on, it's free speech. And even that is trying to be closed down and restricted now. People are making up their own terms. It's ridiculous. It is. If you're mildly right wing on Twitter, you're Trotsky. You're like Trotsky. If you're mildly right wing, you're like Hitler. If you're mildly left wing, you're like Trotsky. If you're centrist, it's not appreciated by both sides. It's hated by both sides because they want you. It's like a game of British bulldog politics now. So it starts off right, and then soon you've got them all. You're all on the same side, and so you have to fight amongst yourselves. And it is that thing that you'll never be woke enough not to be eventually destroyed by your own people, because everyone is saying, "Oh, well, you agree with that? Well, I agree with it even more. And look, I want these people who even slightly disagree with me. That's how perfect I am." But what goes around comes around. I've seen it before. At the beginning of Twitter, people would have a go at you about their issue, and they'd slam you, and you say the wrong term or something, and then it would be a pile-on, and people would be shut down or delete their account, and it was like a victory. But then I noticed those people, those ringleaders, would say the wrong thing for someone else's cause, and the same thing would happen to them. And then a few of them started thinking, "Oh, maybe I've been unreasonable. Maybe we should discuss this." maybe discussion and the arena of ideas. That's why it works. Yeah, it's crazy. It is a new dogma. It's cults just shutting down free speech because you're on the wrong side. It's mad, and they do it. They think they're doing it in the name of good. They think no, because everyone thinks they're on the right side. No one goes around going, "No, I'm a really nasty, awful piece of work who doesn't know anything. I'm just full of hate, right? I just want to destroy lives, right? You know, but no one thinks that. Everyone thinks they're on the right side. And now it's a competition to be who's the rightest, who's the most right. I am. And that's why eventually people amongst themselves, everyone's got to be 100% on your side. If they do one little thing wrong, they're destroyed. It's like, it's crazy. I remember, you know my mate, Warwick Davis, the actor, been loads of stuff, Star, you know him. And he's like 3 foot something. He's got a form of dwarfism, and never let it get in the way. He never plays the victim. Got a great family and kids who are bulletproof because of great parenting, you know. And he told me that if he's in the supermarket or something and a little kid sort of stares at him, he sees the mother go and pull him away like that. And Warwick hates that because he wants to talk to the kid. He wants the kid to ask questions so he can answer them. And then he talks to the kid, explains why I am Warwick, I'm an actor, this is what happened. And the kid thinks, yeah, great, yeah, he's short, so what? And Warwick loves that. That's what Warwick wants to happen. And he gets the parents doing it sort of for him, like, oh, I don't want to hurt his feelings, or I don't want to be embarrassed by my kid. But he doesn't like it when they don't let a kid question this. That's how we learn, by questioning things. There's no right or wrong questions. No right or wrong questions. That doesn't make sense, right? There are only right and wrong answers. And whenever someone says to me, you know, you shouldn't question this, that's not how we progressed. That's not how we cured diseases or put a man on the moon. It was by questioning and questioning. Science tries to prove itself wrong, and when it can't, what it's got is the most right answer so far. Science, at any point, is the least wrong it's been. And I love it when people say that science is flawed because it's been wrong before. How can correcting yourself be a flaw? It's things like, oh, you should never question this. It was written 4,000 years ago, but you should never question it. That's dogma. Oh, anyway. That was a rant, wasn't it? No one cares. Most people don't even understand what I was talking about. Anyway, so yeah, I try not to get too in, but I'll do the odd retweet or stupid comment. But I just don't get into these weird that consume people's lives, tearing families apart now. Politics, identity politics, dogma versus reason and inquiry. I remember when I was growing up, everyone I knew, they're like, Dad voted Tory, Mum voted Labour, or vice versa. That was it. There was no discussion. There's no discussion. Now, difference of opinions rips families apart. It's f***ing mental.
For Section 14, we see farmers being arrested just by Trafalgar Square. It's absolutely outrageous. This is absolutely scandalous. It's unacceptable. That's why we're saying we stand with our farmers together. Look at this, going through all his personal things. I mean, if this doesn't make your blood boil, Britain, if this doesn't make your blood, and how the Met Police suddenly have decided to get all strong after 2 years of some of the things we've been seeing going on here. When people talk about two-tier policing, I mean, this is the kind of thing they're talking about.
Yeah, it was banned right at the 11th hour. The organisers of this protest on Budget Day have been working, they say, for 3 or 4 weeks with the police, arranging 400 to 500 tractors to come down to Whitehall on Budget Day, protesting those inheritance tax reforms. At about 3:30 yesterday afternoon, the organisers were told, no, you cannot do it. It's going to cause too much serious disruption.
A few brave farmers have managed to get through. It's impressive, even though there's been a cordon to try and stop them. Here we are. There's a few that have got through to Trafalgar Square. They've been blocked off in Whitehall.
Dan, what was your reaction last night when you were told you're not allowed to come here anymore?
Absolutely devastated. Absolutely devastated. You know, and being able to get the word out to everybody is impossible. They were coming anyway. You know, the Met unfortunately have scored an own goal here and created carnage. You know, we know it's come from government. We know they don't want to listen to us, whether in the House or on the street. But we need a right, you know, we need to exercise our right to protest. And at the end of the day, that's what's happening today.
This is their thoughts of the budget last year. This was all going to happen outside Downing Street. It was all approved, according to the Met Police, but cancelled at the 11th hour. Many of the farmers had come from Yorkshire, they had come from Somerset down here to protest. They've been pushed to a side road here by the Farmers Club instead of being allowed outside Downing Street, and instead they're holding their protest here. Shredding last year's budget is the picture that they wanted to see outside Downing Street today.
We want to be on side with them, but of course we feel they weren't on side with us because there's some two-tier policing. We've read that there's going to be other demonstrations, other protests down Whitehall. It's going to be closed for them. It's not being closed for us today. It had been closed before, so there's no reason why not, unless the Met had been got at from someone up above, and maybe Starmer or Reeve said, I don't want them down there, but we're here and we're not going away because it's our livelihoods, and our livelihoods feed you, and every meal starts with a farmer.
I don't think I'm a social justice warrior. Maybe for animals, non-political, and stupidity. I try and keep it fair. Not that that does you any good. If the fairer you try to be, the more balanced, the more you try to see both sides of the argument, the more you're hated by both sides because you're not 100% on their side. So you literally can't win. There is no value to being logical and you know, really tolerant, properly liberal, right? Because both sides want to fight and they want to bring down they're not listening to the argument or the principle. They just want to win the argument. Where likes and retweets are more important than actually being right within yourself. So I hope I'm not I wouldn't want to be a social justice warrior unless it's for, you know, actual, you know, a no-brainer. You know, stop bullfighting. Who's going to argue with that? Well, bullfighters, I guess.
Today you've just broken your manifesto pledges and your promise to millions of workers in the budget last year you would not extend the threshold. How in good conscience can you stay on in your job?
In the manifesto, we were very clear. It was the rates of income tax, national insurance and VAT. But I'm not going to get into semantics. I recognise that we are asking people to contribute more by freezing those allowances.
Today, she has announced a new tax rate of £26 billion. They're all cheering. Household income is down. Spending policies in this budget increase borrowing in every year. That smorgasbord of misery we just heard from her can be summed up in one sentence. Labour are hiking taxes to pay for welfare. This is a budget for Benefit Street, Madam Deputy Speaker, paid for by working people. This budget increases benefits for 560,000 families by an average of £5,000. They are hiking taxes on workers, pensioners and savers to pay for handouts to keep their backbenchers quiet.
This morning we're holding a protest outside Southampton Docks to show our anger at the Labour government not changing their plans on the IHT, and we're just sending them a warning shot that if this next budget goes badly, we're going to be out in force and we will shut the country down permanently.
So I've just come from watching the budget, and surprise, surprise, Rachel Reeves has broken her promise to you yet again. In fact, after her budget, she will have increased taxes 7 times more than she promised at the general election. And it means that working people are going to be worse off. In fact, according to her forecasts, working people are going to have less money in their pockets every single year until the next general election. And why? Because she's spending more on benefits, on illegal migrants and her trade union backers. It's wrong, it's unfair, and frankly, she needs to be given the boot.
I think I do give a fuck. I really do. But you've got to be quite militant about your right to give your opinion. And that's controversial these days. Even standing up for your right to speak seems to suddenly be controversial. Like, there's this thing that goes around about because freedom of expression means you could say something nasty, we should curb freedom of expression. That doesn't make any sense to me. Both sides should be fighting for freedom of speech. That's the one thing that whatever side you're on, you should fight for. And I'm suspicious of people who don't like freedom of speech, because that makes me think they don't want to hear something, or they don't want other people to hear something. You know, that's all rights come from freedom of expression. They're all based on it. This new thing that, you might say something that upsets someone, so you shouldn't say it. That's ludicrous. I suppose that is a I don't give a fuck attitude there, but I'm right.
Gary, what happened to you this morning?
So on the drive-in, we got stopped by the police. I blew my horn. They came round to me and said, you need to get out of your tractor because you've committed an offence. And they arrested me, put me in handcuffs for that reason.
Put you in handcuffs for blowing your horn?
Behind my back. They weren't just like here, it was properly up my back.
I genuinely think people will be shocked by that. I am going to be taking this up with the Metropolitan Police Commissioner. I just find this extraordinary that someone who has come here peacefully to protest, who was driving his tractor through London, gets stopped by the police for blowing his horn. You could not make it up.
Going on top of my tractor in front of the horse guards, all the way to Big Ben. Tractors are parked up. They're still pouring in the back, and they just keep on coming. Thousands of tractors here. Back British farmers.
We can't really fight harder, Bev, because if we go out and we start spraying manure about everywhere, I'm sure that's what they want us to do, so they can close us down, and they will close down all demonstrations, rallies or protests, whatever you want to call them, because they say that we're the big bad guys, we've caused too many problems.
If we don't get a reversal, they've got to amend this policy. I mean, a reversal, I think, is actually the best thing, to be quite honest. But if they don't amend this policy, it's going to bankrupt just about every family farm. When they have a parent die, that's going to be the end of their business.
And we're hearing things in the budget, leaks about income tax, pensions, properties. What would be the rabbit out of the hat for farmers today?
It'd be quite nice to be acknowledged that we actually exist, rather than just feeling completely betrayed by the government. And really, it is the government we're betrayed by.
How are you? Doing okay?
I'm personally in favour of doing to farmers who want to go on the streets, we can do to them what Margaret Thatcher did to the miners.
So just to be clear, Johnny, you would, beat them up?
No, close them. I mean, this industry we could do without.
So, okay, all right, so this got weird. So you would do to farmers what Margaret Thatcher did to miners, which was, and she used very heavy-handed police tactics, followed by what? Putting them out of business?
If people are so upset that they want to go on the streets and spray slurry on them, then we don't need the small farmers.
Right. Okay, John. I'm not sure that's a particular. You were, just to clarify, you were a former Labour special advisor, possibly emphasis on the word former there.
Okay. Right.
So why are you here, Mr. Clarkson?
Well, because I'm here to support farmers.
Right. Are you angry?
It's difficult to be angry on somebody else's behalf. That's like being... Yes, no, I'm not angry on someone else's behalf.
Right. So it's not about you. It's not about your farm and the fact that you bought a farm to avoid inheritance tax.
Classic BBC there. Classic. Oh, yeah. It's not the fact that I bought a farm to avoid inheritance tax. The fact.
You told the Sunday Times in 2021 that's why you bought it.
These people.
Sorry?
BBC.
Oh, God.
OK, let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
I wanted a shoot, OK? That's even worse to the BBC. I wanted a shoot, which comes with the benefit of not having to pay inheritance tax. Now I do. But people like me will simply put it in a trust. And so long as I live for 7 years, that's fine. And as my daughter said, you will live for 7 years. You might be in a deep freeze at the end of it, but you will live for 7 years. But it's incredibly time-consuming to have to do that. And why should all these people have to do that? Why should they?
There should be a rule, I guess.
So one of the reasons Rachel Reeves says she brought this in is to stop wealthy people using it as a way
No,
of
that was the only reason she did.
Well, no, the other reason was to raise money for public services. Well, have you seen...
Are you listening to this?
Have you tried to get a GP appointment lately?
Yes,
Right.
I just recently had a heart attack.
Okay, so you know it's tough.
Yes.
So where should they get the money from if it's not from farmers?
From farmers.
With
You hear that, everyone?
With
BBC
assets.
thinks you should be paying for everything.
And I want to... Oh, you know what I want to say. I want to say, you selfish... Oh, God. I'll start carrying the stick again. Just swishing it like that. Dark glasses and a white stick, just like that. Then they get out of the fucking way. Oh. Anyway.
Okay, do you know how many people pay inheritance tax in this country?
It's 4% of estates.
What?
4% of estates.
4% pay inheritance tax. 96% of the population of the UK does not pay inheritance tax.
Sure.
After this becomes law, 96% of farmers will.
Where have you got that figure from?
Who here, can I just ask, who here is going to be unaffected by these changes? No one.
But, I don't know what to do, really. I'm not the police. I can't. You can say, excuse me, or so. But people are going to start losing their temper. I mean, that's what road rage is, isn't it? Road rage starts with someone being unreasonable or doing something they shouldn't, and the other person loses their temper. It's not two reasonable people and suddenly one of them goes mental. It's someone doing something they shouldn't, cutting in front or not indicating, or, the same as this.
Right. Where have you got the 96% figure
Well,
from?
you've got 96%. Well, the same place that Rachel Reeves does, from the middle of her head.
Right.
From the Sixth Form Debating Society that she was no doubt a member of.
Okay.
Which formed her opinions and yours.
I am not expressing opinions. I'm
Yes.
literally asking you questions. You know that, Mr. Clarkson.
Right.
So, what is your message to this government?
Please back down, please.
And get the money from where?
Well, they've got 40 billion. I'll tell you where you get the... Walk into any of the offices around here. If you don't understand what somebody's job is, fire them.
And how
The civil service... Civil service is too top, you know that. I must get on.
Good back, guys. And the tractor's going. Well done, guys. Keep going, keep going.
Stay safe. Wash your hands. Don't have a knob for hair. Right, cheers guys. See you tomorrow.